The wealthy businessman was shocked to discover that the pilot sitting beside him was fast asleep, while their aircraft continued climbing at 30,000 feet. He immediately shook the pilot vigorously, trying to wake him, only to realize with horror that the man had stopped breathing. Staring at the control panel filled with buttons and gauges, Mike suddenly realized how utterly foreign this private jet, his companion for 10 years, had become. He glanced back at his wife and daughter chatting cheerfully in the cabin, completely unaware of the approaching danger. Mike forced himself to stay calm and attempted to contact the control center following the emergency procedures he'd learned in flight training.
Hello? Miami Center. Anyone there?
However, his distress call was overheard by his wife. Despite his protests, she rushed into the cockpit and froze at the sight before her. She tried to perform CPR on the pilot, but couldn't get proper leverage in the cramped space. In desperation, Mary unbuckled her seatbelt to move the pilot's body, but his weight pressed down on the control stick, sending the plane into a steep dive through the clouds toward the ground. Fortunately, Mary managed to pull the pilot away just in time, averting disaster. With their daughter's help, she then moved the pilot's body into the main cabin, but the crisis was far from over. Mike was horrified to discover that the aircraft was still climbing steadily. If left unchecked, they would soon lose consciousness from oxygen deprivation. He knew he had to disengage the autopilot and take manual control of the plane. Though extremely challenging, he followed the control tower's instructions to switch off the automatic systems and center the control stick, doing his best to maintain stable flight.
Ma'am, you find me the longest and the widest runway you can.
For Mike, who had never actually piloted an aircraft, landing safely seemed nearly impossible. To minimize the risk of catastrophe, air traffic control guided Mike in reducing altitude while instructing him to ease back on the throttle as he pushed the control stick forward. Eventually, they brought the plane down from 17,000 feet to 11,000 feet. Due to Mike's unsteady handling, the aircraft shook violently at times. Thankfully, the control center had already cleared the surrounding airspace, and after a series of adjustments, they directed him to fly westward. Although Mike knew this direction was completely opposite to Miami International Airport, he had no choice but to follow orders. It turned out that to prevent a major disaster, the tower had decided to divert the plane to a smaller airport. Even if something went wrong, the damage would be minimized. Despite his inner resistance, he gritted his teeth and pressed on. But what he didn't know was that an even greater challenge awaited him. The control center hadn't told him that a severe thunderstorm was brewing near the small airport. He had just 40 minutes to complete the landing, or the consequences would be catastrophic. This fight for survival had only just begun.